the FBI targeting people labeled as extremist or white supremacists that are actually Republicans who are more of a conservative mindset. And the actual increase in budget is something like 357% over previous years, whereas the actual number of cases isn't relative, the new cases of extremism or white supremacy, yet this funding is way out of whack. And we're also seeing in places like these shootings in Texas and those types of situations where someone is labeled as a white supremacist and they are not even white.
Well, this is happening because the appetite and the demand for domestic terrorism vastly outstrips supply in this country, and the FBI will deliver whatever deliverables that you need politically. And now that we have a very left-leaning, arguably communist administration in power, anybody who it deems to be out of step with its political ideologies or wishes is going to be a perceived enemy, and the FBI will target them for investigation. And I think that's in keeping with the FBI's history. And then also the quota system that they've had, which has been in place for about 10 years. And shockingly, I know you'll be super surprised that the number of domestic terrorist cases have quadrupled in the last 10 years, when in fact that threat really doesn't exist. And the FBI itself set last year a goal of disrupting, it's an arbitrary statistic they claim, but disrupting 600 terrorist operations last year on the homeland. They only disrupted 397, which would mean that the FBI disrupted a terrorist plot every day of the year and twice on Sunday. And if that, in fact, was a legitimate threat, we would have to see some fall through the cracks and we would see legitimate attacks. And so then when you have a shooting that happens in Texas, the FBI can't wait to label that something that they can then say, see, there is a legitimate threat here of domestic terrorism, when it might just be a case of a mental person or just regular gang violence.
So they've basically moved the goalpost on the true definition of what white supremacy is.